You're watching ABC10 Plus This Week.
Hi everyone, I'm Walt Gray. You're watching ABC10 This Week. We look into the flock camera debate growing across the Northern California area. And the Gann Fire is fully contained, but dozens of people who lost their homes are now beginning the difficult recovery process. Then we hit the backroads. John Bartelt takes us inside a former Bordello that preserves a complicated and often controversial chapter of Idaho history. ABC10 This Week starts right now.
New tonight, Flock Safety is announcing changes in response to growing privacy concerns and documented abuses of their system. The technology company operates a nationwide network of cameras that record license plate numbers and other data. The company's CEO says the changes will lead to mandatory guardrails.
Typically, it is the victim that has to report the abuse. But now with this tool, we can detect the abnormal behavior. We can alert an administrator, and we can do that in real time and not 30 days or even, God forbid, a year later.
Flock is adding the new safeguards after reports of officers misusing the system. Unusual search activity could now lead to an automatic lockout, blocking access until it's reviewed. Officers will also be required to enter a case number every time they use the system. But some say more needs to be done, even as local deputies are now defending the cameras. ABC 10's Paul Sunga is live in the studio tonight with more from both sides.
Yeah, Chris, even with these changes, the debate is growing, and so is the scrutiny on how these cameras are used. You may not have seen it, but it likely has seen your car. The company behind the Flock cameras is changing how information is stored and accessed.
They're feeling the public pressure.
Lindsay Halsell is with D-Flock Elk Grove and isn't satisfied with the change.
It's too little too late, to be honest with you.
Bear lives in Grass Valley and applauded the city this week when it became the latest city canceling its contract and suspending the use of Flock cameras within city limits.
It's not worth it at all. And the Constitution comes first, and citizens even before that.
I certainly understand the concerns of a certain segment of the public regarding privacy issues. In my opinion, this is overblown.
Ed Obayashi is an active California peace officer and statewide and national expert on police practices. He says the cameras remain a valuable investigative tool.
We are monitored daily by various other surveillance, if you want to call it surveillance, but tracking systems. Our own vehicles are constantly being monitored internally by the manufacturers. GPS, Google, your cell phones, etc.
Critics point to the Washington Post report that found nearly 50 cases of officers accused or charged with using Flock cameras for unauthorized purposes, including tracking significant others, exes, and family members. Obayashi agrees those officers should face consequences.
All it takes is a few bad actors to make it bad for all of law enforcement, for California law enforcement agencies. I've been in that position, I still am, where I do investigate these situations, and there's no tolerance for that, and there should not be.
But D-Flock Elk Grove says shortening retention doesn't address its concern.
I don't think constant active surveillance is worth it.
And for the debate over Flock and its camera is now far from over. Chris.
Indeed, Paul, we thank you for that update.
A debate is growing over the use of automated license plate readers, which are commonly called Flock cameras. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. In the past week, we have brought you several stories from Elk Grove, Grass Valley, Yuba Sutter, Roseville, and more areas. But these cameras, look, they've been used for years. I do want to bring in ABC10's Becca Hotbegger to join us in studio. Becca, I know in our editorial meeting this morning, we were wondering, why is this debate growing, especially now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's what I asked experts today. Flock, we should say, is a major company that produces these cameras, though there are other companies, including Axon and Motorola. And interestingly, criticism seems to be transcending political lines.
They're posted at intersections across the region, reading license plates, building a digital trail of where drivers have been. Supporters say automated license plate readers are an important crime-fighting tool. Critics call them a surveillance state in the making. And the pushback isn't coming from just one side of the aisle.
No matter where you fall on the political spectrum, we all seem to be arriving at the same conclusion, which is government mass surveillance is out of control and needs to be reined in immediately.
Chad Marlowe is senior policy counsel with the American Civil Liberties Union. He says conservative opposition to the cameras stems from concerns of big government overreach. Progressive opposition centers around the potential for historically over-policed communities to be further targeted. Different starting points, the same worry, a serious invasion of privacy.
People in the political center, or even the non-politically involved, still it's the it factor of, why are you watching everywhere I'm going? That's private to me. Even if I'm not doing anything wrong, I don't want everywhere I go being tracked.
Dave Moss with the Electronic Frontier Foundation has followed this fight for 13 years and says one detail keeps getting overlooked.
There aren't the same protections for this data that there is for, say, other things like our cell phone location data.
Moss says if police want someone's phone location, they need a warrant. He argues these cameras let them get similar information without one, and he'd like to see that change.
Make it have to go through a judge. That way you're not running it for every single thing that comes through.
Here in Sacramento County, the sheriff's office says it has 168 flock cameras around unincorporated areas, including Rancho Cordova.
Without question, immensely. And that's still an understatement. It is an invaluable piece of technology that we utilize every day.
Sergeant Edward Igo says every time a camera detects a wanted license plate, a human in the sheriff's office verifies it. He says the technology doesn't include facial recognition, and California law bans the sharing of data with agencies outside the state, including federal law enforcement. Flock Safety's founder and CEO, Garrett Langley, says nationwide, the results speak for themselves.
We helped in over 1 million crimes last year, over 10,000 missing people.
Critics question whether the trade-off is worth it. Langley says he understands the concern, but argues it doesn't have to be one or the other.
We believe in a future where public safety and privacy can coexist. The debate is real, but we shouldn't forget that safety is also a fundamental right.
I don't think these companies should be trusted with our data, particularly because these companies are not in it for public safety. They're not in it to serve police. They are in it to impress their investors. These are tech companies in the end.
He and Marlowe say they'd like to see the cameras banned nationwide. The next best thing, they say, would be strict limits on how long the data can be stored.
The ACLU actually supports a 48-hour data retention limit.
I mean, minutes would be the best way to protect people.
And as for why the debate over these cameras is blowing up now when they've been used for years, people I spoke with today say it's a mix of factors, including a loss of trust in government across the political spectrum, more people seeing and becoming aware of the cameras and how they're used, these companies growing their database and sharing capabilities, and the use of AI in identifying vehicles, and high-profile instances of law enforcement officers misusing the system. This is a story we'll continue following. Alex?
All right, Becca, thank you for that update.
A local police department is making big changes tonight after community pushback. Police in Grass Valley are now removing the controversial flock cameras. The police chief made the announcement at the city council meeting just hours ago.
The Grass Valley Police Department has decided to indefinitely suspend the use of fixed-point ALPR readers.
Cheers at the Grass Valley City Council meeting as the police chief announces plans to stop using automated license plate readers.
Exercising our ability to cancel our contract with Flock Safety. As a department, we will continue to monitor developments relative to ALPR and other technologies.
Police addressed community concerns after a report from DFLOC Nevada County alleged the department shared surveillance data with federal agencies. At a June 10th meeting, police committed to responding to the community within 60 days. Crowds packed into the chamber to speak out about privacy concerns.
Many people were prepared to rant against the flock cameras again. And we were surprised, most of us, that the chief of police has decided to cancel the flock cameras.
The chief released a letter that said, in part, to date, the technology has helped to solve countless cases, including over 100 stolen vehicle recoveries and arrests, hit-and-run suspect identifications, robbery suspect arrests, locating missing and at-risk individuals, and many other crimes that may have gone unsolved without the system. However, during the nearly 5 years since its adoption, inception and subsequent expansion, much has changed. The system, originally only a license plate reading system, has evolved to include much more powerful computer intelligence tools. And the expansion of networks across jurisdictions has also enhanced the reach of the data collection and databases. And so the chief says the cameras will come down in a matter of days.
And we have a plan to physically remove the devices by the end of the week.
A surprising yet satisfactory victory for the many gathered to speak out against mass surveillance.
I am happy for this minor little grassroots small town achievement, which I think is great. That's kind of why I live in a small town, because it feels a little more under my control.
Tonight, a 24-year-old woman is back behind bars after a deadly hit and run involving a Caltrans contract worker on Highway 50. She was released on bail just yesterday, but hours ago, a judge decided she must now be held with no bail. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias is live tonight at the Sacramento County Jail. So, Roxanne, what happened today in court?
Chris, at times the courtroom felt tense with both families present inside, but things quickly took a turn to be more emotional when Ruby Lorenzo took the podium completely dressed in black, and as the judge acknowledged her, then that's when we saw the family of Onelias Rodriguez bursting into tears, followed by the other family also crying. And then Lorenzo stood at the podium with her head down most of the time, her eyes almost closed for most of the hearing. The family of Onelias Rodriguez is heartbroken after their loved one was hit and killed early Monday morning. Irma Rodriguez says, "Oh no, I can't. I don't know what to do. The only thing I ask for is for the person who took his life, for there to be justice for my son." Investigators say 24-year-old Ruby Lorenzo was driving under the influence when she crashed into two cars before hitting Rodriguez, who was working as a subcontractor for Caltrans on the Fix 50 project, with enough force to launch him off the road. Andrea Rodriguez says his current partner told my sister that he wanted to leave that job because he didn't want to die on the road, that it was a very risky job, and that he didn't want to lose his life there. Hours after the crash, Lorenzo bailed out of jail. On Wednesday, she faced a judge. Cameras were not allowed inside the courtroom, where family members of Rodriguez sat on one side of the room. On the other side, Lorenzo's family. In court today, the DA's office said Lorenzo then reached speeds of 100 miles per hour trying to get away after hitting Rodriguez. They also revealed that she admitted to drinking and driving, and that she tested more than double the legal limit. The judge ultimately decided to take her back into custody, saying that based on the facts, the court believes she is a danger to the public. There, in front of both her and Rodriguez's families, she was taken away to jail. The family of Onelias Rodriguez says they're now asking for privacy while they remember their brother, son, and grandfather. Andrea Rodriguez says, "My brother was very reserved. He loved roosters, and his family was his 8-month-old granddaughter. Yesterday was the last time he came to visit my mother. He just came to get something to eat and left." In court today, both parties acknowledged that Lorenzo does not have a criminal record, and her attorney also said it was not her intent to commit this crime. I'm live in downtown Sacramento. Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
My goodness, my thoughts are certainly with those families tonight. Roxanne, we thank you for the live update.
Following a years-long ABC10 investigation called the Wild West of Education, there are now new details tonight on a Yuba City unified decision to deny a petition from Highlands Community Charter and Technical Schools to open a new adult charter school. ABC10 investigative reporter Adrian Thomas has the district's concerns and reaction from Highlands tonight.
This decision centers on a bigger question. Has Highlands changed enough to be trusted with a new charter? The district says the charter school's past problems still presents too great a risk. Highlands says its new leadership has transformed the school and that adult students still need the services it provides.
Highlands is the subject of an ongoing investigative series by ABC10 that has uncovered nepotism, fraud, and lavish spending of taxpayer dollars.
The Yuba City Unified School Board voted July 28th to deny Highlands' petition to open the California Adult Learning Academy known as CALA. The proposed charter would primarily serve adult students through online learning and independent study. In a 23-page report, district staff said the petition failed to meet state requirements in several areas, including financial oversight, teacher qualifications, attendance reporting, and governance. The district also alleged Highlands did not disclose plans to eventually move about 2,000 students from its existing Sacramento area schools into the new charter. Highlands disputes that characterization, saying CALA is designed to expand, not relocate, adult education opportunities. The charter school says the new school would establish a presence in the Yuba-Sutter region while offering flexible education, English language development, and workforce training. The scrutiny surrounding Highlands began with ABC10's years-long investigation, The Wild West of Education. Our reporting exposed serious questions about the organization's spending, attendance reporting, teacher credentials, school locations, and a lack of government oversight. ABC10's findings helped prompt state lawmakers to request a formal audit. That audit later found Highlands improperly received more than $180 million in taxpayer funding. It also identified unapproved campuses, teacher credentialing problems, questionable spending, and failures to properly document instructional time. The audit became a central part of Yuba City Unified's decision to deny the CALA petition. Former Highlands teacher Lindsay Curtis shared her thoughts with us on Yuba City Unified's decision to deny Highlands' new charter.
I was actually pretty surprised at that. I thought with some connections that maybe the board had up there that it would happen. I was really surprised that they denied them, especially I think there's a need up there.
Do you feel like Highlands has made the necessary reforms and is on a good path, or at least somewhat improved?
I would love to say that Highlands is on a better path. I think they have made moves that at least show that they're aware of changes that need to be made in terms of folks that were there that probably shouldn't have been.
Curtis still works in education and hopes she can watch Highlands from afar start a better chapter.
I have hope. I would love to see it turn a corner and really serve the community well and use taxpayer funds responsibly.
We asked Highlands for an on-camera interview. They declined, but in a statement, Highlands said Yuba City Unified relied on historical information that does not reflect sweeping reforms implemented under new leadership. The school also disputes the district's concerns about teacher support, saying more than 80 qualified California educators signed the petition. Highlands Executive Director Jonathan Raymond said, quote, "Our mission remains unchanged, providing adult learners with a second chance at education, workforce training, and economic opportunity. The denial will not immediately close Highlands or interrupt classes. Its two existing schools remain open under Twin Rivers Unified through June 2027. Highlands now plans to appeal to the Sutter County Office of Education, a process that could take up to 90 days. The Sutter County Board of Education could either uphold Yuba City Unified's decision or agree to authorize the new school. We reached out to the California Department of Education, and they said that Highlands has appealed the state auditor's findings on the $180 million in taxpayer funding the charter school improperly received, and the department is now waiting for a decision from an appeals panel before taking any action. Adrian Thomas, ABC 10.
And Twin Rivers tells ABC10 that it was aware of Highlands' plan to move about 2,000 Sacramento area students into the proposed charter. The district says that it continues to fulfill its legal oversight responsibilities as Highlands' current charter authorizer.
Meanwhile, the Gann Fire is now contained in Calaveras County, but sadly, so many families lost their homes. ABC10's Gabriel Porras has a closer look at what comes next.
Officials here in Calaveras County say they are still transitioning from the emergency response phase to emergency recovery, and this 10-hour local assistance center in San Andreas was a critical step. When the deadly flames of the Gann Fire forced Gloria Ramirez to leave, she thought she would be able to come back.
I didn't know this was going to happen, and I didn't take nothing, you know.
Not even a change of clothes. Less than a day after igniting, fast-moving flames surrounded the Circle 20 neighborhood, destroying home after home, Gloria and her neighbors.
It's a mess over there. It's all that debris. Everything's burned. We lost everything. Birth certificates, marriage, divorce papers.
We have the Department of Motor Vehicles who can provide
identification cards, any replacement driver's license, as well as titles. We also have the California Department of Public Health, who can provide important documents such as birth certificates, death certificates, as well as marriage licenses.
18 different agencies in one room for 10 hours Thursday. The Calaveras County Health and Human Services Agency calls it a local assistance center.
For those who've been impacted, I think it's, especially if they've lost their home, they may not know where to start. This is a good starting place for them to identify what resources are available so that we can help them in their recovery.
That's why I'm here for, see what they can help us with. It's hard, to start all over again from the bottom.
These families now forced to do just that. Still deep in loss, recovery is beginning.
And we have to start from scratch. We're still, trying to settle down. We have a lot of work. So it's been hard. Very, very hard.
In San Andreas, Gabriel Porras, ABC10.
And the Calaveras Public Utilities District says they have water containers and refill stations available to residents who need them. They're located at the main warehouse on Toma Court in San Andreas. Meanwhile, these fires show just how important it is to be informed and prepared during wildfire season. You can learn how to stay safe by watching the California Wildfire Special on the free ABC10 TV streaming app. Meanwhile, the wine industry is facing a major downturn, and Lodi is now being impacted. Some families are deciding to close down. ABC10's Gabriel Porras has more.
Across the sprawling Lodi wine country, signs of an incoming harvest. Trucks and equipment are staged, almost ready. But at Heritage Oak Winery owner Tom Hoffman,
we've sold the house, we've sold everything.
Is nearly done.
I'm not making any wine this year. We will be closing our doors probably in December. We just wanted to get to a point where we didn't have to work so much.
His family has been working on this land for 5 generations, growing grapes for other labels until starting their own brand and tasting room in 2007.
Lots of little wineries were popping up all over the place, and we decided that we could give it a shot, and it worked for us.
That was nearly 2 decades ago, and now
the whole industry is in a state of contraction. It's pulling back. Vineyards are coming out, people are putting in other crops, almonds, other things.
Tom told me that the industry downturn on its own is not the reason he's made that difficult decision to close, but it could be the reason why the grapes from this brand newly planted vineyard, 14 different varieties here, may never end up in a bottle.
We'd hoped that we could find someone who would keep the winery going, but it didn't happen.
It's probably a difficult time to jump in.
Oh yeah. I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to do that. It's a sad time in a lot of ways for us, but it's something we have to go through.
In Lodi, another harvest is around the corner. For Tom, a goodbye and one last season of memories.
People who have gotten married here, they've come here and they've enjoyed the birds, or during COVID, they went down to the river. You can measure success in a lot of different ways, and to give people happiness and joy is probably one of the nicest ways to do it.
In San Joaquin County, Gabriel Porras, ABC10.
In 1967, Interstate 90 was supposed to cut through Wallace, Idaho. Residents, though, fought back, getting the entire town listed on the National Register of Historic Places, saving its historic buildings. And it's a good thing they did, because otherwise we wouldn't know how much it cost to go to the Bordello.
1988, what we have been told is the miners were making $35 a day. $35 could be gone per hour.
Well, this may not be the history lesson you expected, but before you judge the Oasis Bordello Museum, Miss Pam and Miss Tina ask visitors to keep an open mind.
You can't change people's minds about bordellos. We're trying to.
Inside are antique massagers, revealing clothes, and even the original service menu. But those artifacts tell the story of Madame Ginger, one of Idaho's last known bordello owners.
Oh, it is, truly. Because everything that, when they left in 1988, they thought they were coming back. And so they left everything. It's been moved around a little bit, but it's never left this house.
When the FBI shut down the operation in 1988, Ginger thought it would only be temporary. The women packed a few things up, but never returned.
The federal agents were up here for over 2 years.
The old timers that the girls used were never reset. The day's payouts are still written on the wall, and even the ashtrays appear to be frozen in time. Miss Pam says it's one of the most complete time capsules of a working bordello in America.
We had silver and the bordellos up here. That's what we were famous for. They were shiny, we were a little tarnished.
But if you climb the stairs, the novelty begins to fade. The rooms look surprisingly ordinary. A couch, an old TV, a shared kitchen. These weren't only places of business. They were also places where the women lived together.
She wanted to take pictures of these girls looking like sisters, mothers, your sweetheart at home. She wanted to look normal, and I think she did a good job.
For many women in the mining West, especially widows and those without support, prostitution was one of the few ways to earn a living.
But it's estimated that Ginger was, in today's money, would be making upwards of $1 million, and any girl that was working regularly, upwards of $100,000 a year.
Business was profitable, but Ginger believed that success meant supporting the town.
If you give to your community, they're going to give back to you. If you give to people, they're going to be more receptive to you.
The madam bought school band uniforms, provided Christmas presents, and even closed the bordello down for more than 3 months after the Sunshine Mine disaster, so widows and their children could stay here for free.
Ginger, from this house, she shut this house down and sent her girls on vacation for over 3 months, and they housed the widows and their children and took care of them.
The Oasis Bordello doesn't hide Wallace's complex history. It preserves it.
A lot of people come in with assumptions, and then we give them little tidbits.
The Oasis Bordello Museum isn't asking visitors to celebrate prostitution. It's asking them to understand the women behind it, the women whose stories helped shape Wallace and the stories that were almost lost forever.
I feel proud of these women. They helped shape the West.
From the Oasis Bordello Museum in Wallace, Idaho, I'm John Bartell. Hope to see you on the Backroads.
And thank you for watching ABC 10 this week. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Walt Gray. Take care. We'll see you next time.
And remember, the ABC 10 Weather Impact team is always here for you 24/7. Get the latest conditions anytime with our live 24/7 radar on our free TV streaming app. Just scan the QR code for easy instructions to download the ABC 10 app wherever you stream ABC 10.